Hey everybody, how you doing? It occurred to me, by the way, welcome to Upstairs in the Shop. I don't think I've shot a video from up here yet. Um, I've been working on, I have 4.5 different projects in work right now, and they're running concurrently. And they vary in range, but I guess you could call the subject of this video, as my friend Dr. Henderson would say, What Up Benches, because 3 of the projects I have working out of the 4.5 are in fact benches. But they're, first of all, if you're following the bar build set of videos, which is up to episode 16 now and holding for a little bit, I have continued some work on the bar, but not the epoxy work, which we were focusing on. This particular piece I have here is the shelf that's going to go underneath the bar to hold extra glasses, maybe some fruit juice bottles and things like that, whatever they want to store under the bar. So I've been working on that. Let me get the camera and just give you a quick tour of that. This is basically a piece of nice sycamore that I got from my friend out at Fruitful Furnishings. Nice piece of kiln dried, and I built this border wood is made from the same board. I just ripped those pieces off, and the edges you can still see. I have a little bit of sanding here to blend my glue joints in. The end of the bar the end of the edge is mortise, so that the little shelf retainer thing stays in as a it's flush on the outside. So I need to do just a little bit. You can see here I still have some stuff. This didn't show up until I went down to the finer paper, and that's what I had done with a lot of these was I just switched to a fine paper. Now some of the defects from the coarser paper shows up. So I've been doing a lot of sanding the last couple of days. As a matter of fact, on Sunday it was so bad in here that you could barely breathe. So on Monday I decided to do something to fix that. And if you look, see over here, I have a little 3-gallon canister vacuum I got from Harbor Freight. Nothing special. Works fine. That I can hook up to my sanders, which you may or may not see hitting down here. Pay no attention to the tool behind the curtain. But the nice thing is that this hose plugs right in, and once it's under vacuum, the vacuum pulls it in and holds it there. So that has cut my dust problems by 90%. I'm going to take this vacuum down just so it's out of the way. You can see a little better. And let's just, let me just check and make sure you can see what I'm pointing at here. You will lose my face in the video now, so you're welcome. So we talked about this shelf. This is coming out very nice. Little more sanding, then I hit it with the sanding sealer. This gets the closest I can do to a fine furniture finish. I want this to look really nice, so I will take the time to make sure all the sanding is meticulously done. I have no marks from anything previous. I'll go down fairly fine, hit it with sanding sealer, and then do a hand sanding on it. When you use sanding sealer, you can't use a powered sander like a random orbital sander or anything like that. You have to do it by hand, and that sanding sealer helps the finish come up faster, cleaner, and nicer. So that's the non-bench piece of the hat. Pardon my chest here. Get that out of the way. Oops, something fell. Couldn't have been important. I use these paint sticks all the time. $1.59 for like 15 of them. They're always the same thickness. They make good stickers in the shop. This piece is interesting in that I don't like to waste anything here. I am cheap, frugal, and thrifty. But most of all, I just hate to see good wood go to waste. I had built on consignment, a client request, I built a dining room table and some matching benches for it a while back. To make the benches to the dimension that the client requested, I had to rip some off the end. So I had 2 strips of nice red oak that was kiln dried. The wood came from Bantle's Boards over in Connecticut. Great folks, kiln dried stuff. Nice red oak. But they were odd shaped pieces that I cut off, which is another reason to cut them off and keep the benches uniformly shaped like a general rectangle with one live edge on each board. So what I did was, I hated to waste those. So the one that I still had as a very odd shape, it was about 8 inches on one end and, I don't know, 12 inches on the other end with a long taper, obviously. So I ripped that taper off. That made a long wedge. I flipped the wedge over. So, and I'm pretty sure you can't see it here, but this is actually 3 pieces that are glued together. There's a wedge here. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right end. And I am, yes. The wedge starts about this wide up here and tapers down to 0 at this end. And that makes one nice little bench top. On the bottom, you can barely tell except to follow the grain structure. There's a line right there, and there's a line right here. Came out pretty nice though. It's nice and flat, and it's going to look pretty. This is going to get those right legs that I got that they had on clearance because it's a discontinued color, and they will look pretty. This will be like a demo bench, be a few $100, but it will be good for a demo. And heck, I may even use this in my house. It's coming out nice. And when I put a finish on it, it's going to be pretty. So that's bench number 1. Put this out of the way. My stickers. This bench is an ash slab. I cut these off of a short curved ash log, about 3 years ago, I guess at least. And they've been drying out in the shed for quite a while. And I looked at one of them, and it looked like it had a tiny little bit of black mold showing up, starting. And it looked like some of the edge, the sapwood around the edges was starting to get a little pithy. So I pulled it in and thought, let's make a bench out of it and see how the wood is. Well, it turns out the wood is just fine. That black mold was all surface stuff, and not a big deal. But I do have a number of these benches, or these slabs, I should say. And if you wanted to make a table or a bench for yourself, you can pick up one of these slabs. And it's very easy to put any kind of legs on them you want, or just set them up on a couple of stumps, and maybe put a few screws in to hold them down. And these will finish up into nice benches. I still have, after doing some sanding on this, I still have a crack here I'd like to epoxy fill so moisture doesn't get in there, but the epoxy is going to disappear when I sand it all off. The bottom I've done a little bit of epoxy work for the same reason. A couple of little checks here and there that I filled in, and when you sand them off, nothing shows up. It's maybe a little, what's basically a pencil line. So this is going to come out nice. I have no idea what kind of legs I'm going to put on it. I just kind of go with the flow, and as it comes together, I decide what it looks like it would like to have. So it's kind of like the bench makes the decision. A little more sanding to do on this. Maybe if I have epoxy working, I'll, yeah, there's a spot right there I should smooth up a little bit. But this is 2 live edge, and it's going to look pretty nice. For ash, this doesn't really have much of the emerald ash borer left in it. I sanded that out because it was all in the cambium layer of the bark. But it's going to be pretty. And these are available if you want to make your own benches and save yourself some money. So that's that one. I said I had 4.5 projects. Yeah, get rid of these. The half project is when I did the glue up bench, the first bench I showed you, I wound up cutting these chunks off. And what I'm going to do with these, because I don't waste hardly anything, is I will square these up, sand them up nice, put a groove right here so that you can take your favorite electronic device, your iPad, your tablet, your big cell phone, whatever, and stick it right in that groove and it stands up so it acts like a device stand. And I make bunches of these out of all the drops I have left over. It's a little cheap item that some folks like to have, and that's just another way to use. I can't see throwing a nice piece of wood like this one's even finished already. I got to sand all that off and start over, but I'll make this nice square, dress it up with some rounded edges, and they'll come out nice. I don't waste anything. And this last item, a little bit more special. This is, let me tell you about this tree. I cut this tree, 4 or 5 years ago. It was, actually, I didn't drop the tree. The tree was on the ground for 15 or more years when I found it, laying in my neighbor's yard in the woods. The outside was black, rotted. It was one of the heaviest logs I've ever pulled out of the woods, probably about, somewhere around 4,000 pounds. It's a red oak. It looked terrible. But when you peeled all the junk off the outside, as you can see, the wood inside is very nice. So I made some slabs out of that, but this is before my sawmilling skills were, let's just say my sawmilling skills had a lot to be desired. I didn't understand pith and cupping and how the grain structure in the log affected the cupping of the wood, etc. So this has got a little cup to it. It's got a little twist to it. And it's been standing up in my shop for like 3 years now, waiting for me to do something with it. I had been using it to dump epoxy on to fill some cracks and play with colors, and it's like a test bed. But my grandsons told me they need a bench that they can sit by while they're waiting for the school bus in the morning. And they wanted something, what we call quick and dirty. So we took this and I cut about 2.5 feet off the end where it was really cupped out. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Probably watch it for another 4 years. And this one is going to get a couple of stumps cut for the legs, and we'll drill some holes in, spike it right down to the stumps. But I wanted the finish on this to be nice so that when the rain sits on it, it doesn't soak in and make it icky, as the boys say. You know, it had to be something you could wipe off and let the water beat up on. So, want to do a nice finish. I did a few touch-up pours in some cracks so that the water doesn't get in. The bottom came out really nice. I don't know why that is. It's probably hard for you to see, but there's some beautiful, what we call flecking or medullary rays in the bottom here that are going to look gorgeous when they get a finish on them. Unfortunately, it is the bottom, and that's because this bottom piece is basically quarter saw, and the top is a little bit too far off of the fleck to show it. Another little shortcoming in my milling skills in those days. I didn't understand that. So anyway, that's the 4 projects I have in work. These things are pretty simple, and they go fairly quick if you're not too picky. I'm very picky, so it takes a little longer, but that's why I run 4 at a time, do similar work on each, and things eventually get done. So this one I may start applying and finish today, because it doesn't have to have that fine furniture finish on it. We just want it to be, you know, pretty weatherproof and sealed up and look nice for the boys. I do see now that it's funny when you sand with 60 or 80 grit to get that heavy epoxy off. It looks pretty good, and then you jump right down to something finer to make it smooth, and that's when you see that your sanding from the 80 grit was not that good. So I got to go back over this a little bit and smooth that out a tad more, take some of that mush off of there. But we're coming along. So little projects, simple stuff. Benches are easy. You can put any kind of legs on them you want. Some of mine have tenion legs. Some of them have spline joint, you know, fancy blind miter spline joints and things like that. It's just a matter of how much time you want to spend. But if you want a simple bench for your porch, or outside your front door, or inside your front door for somebody to sit on and take their shoes off, I have slabs available that you can pick up and make your own, or you can come pick a slab out and tell me what you'd like to see made out of it. Just want to throw that in there as long as I had this stuff up. And there you go. That's it for now. If you have questions, by the way, you can see some of my other benches on the items for sale page on my website, which is https://www.woodsmanforestproducts.com. Woodsman Forest Products is all one word. And I have some benches up there with prices and things, but if you have something else in mind, I still have a lot of that material available to start from scratch and make you something just for you. Talk to you later. Hope you enjoyed the video a little bit. And if you didn't, well, then I hope you find a video you like. Keep browsing. Bye-bye.